Have you been thinking about starting your own nonprofit organization but do not know where the money is coming from to do so? I've helped so many persons who were in that position to start their own nonprofit organization. And in fact, I was in that same position many years ago before starting my own nonprofit organization and raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for our projects and programs. So if you're in that position, I've created this video for you to help you to fund your nonprofit organization. Welcome back to the NGO Journey, everyone. If you're joining for the first time, I'm Lenny Rodon, the founder of the NGO Journey, where we help individuals and companies to start, grow, and sustain their own nonprofit organizations and social enterprises. So today I want to tell you about 5 ways that you can fund your own organization. And it doesn't matter if it's just an idea or you're just starting or you're at the stage where you want to grow. Number 1, use your own funds or ask for contributions from your friends and families. Now this may sound simple or you may think that you don't have any money, but you can save money from your salary, or if you run a business, you can save some of the profits to put towards starting your own nonprofit organization. This is how most nonprofit organizations start out. The founders usually have to fund the startup out of their pockets. And the truth is, you may not need a lot of money to start because you can start small and then grow your organization. So this money that you're going to take from your pocket or from the contributions of friends and families, you may just need it to maybe create flyers or brochures to advertise the nonprofit. You may need it to probably buy refreshments or to host maybe a session that you're going to have for your nonprofit. But the truth is that the small amount that you're able to save, it can get you started. Number 2, apply for small grants for your projects. So once you've started your NGO, ensure that you are taking photos, making videos, and just documenting the work that you have been doing. And you can use this to apply for small grants that are usually offered by different funding agencies, whether they are embassies, high commissions, international NGOs, sometimes the local government, to fund your NGOs. Usually these small grants range from about say $1,000 up to maybe 20,000 or 25,000 US dollars. Some of them may be a little bit higher or even a little bit lower, but generally that is the range for small project funding. You can use this to help to fund the projects in your NGO and to really grow your organization. Most of these funders, they usually have call for proposals where they put out these calls at specific time every year, or some of them they're ongoing, so you can actually apply for their grants all throughout the year. All you need to do is to keep an eye out for the grants from the different organizations. And if you want to learn more about which organizations offer small grants for nonprofit organizations, then be sure to watch our video on where to find funding for your NGO. Number 3, apply for large grants for your bigger projects or to help you to sustain and cover the operational expenses for your nonprofit organization. So there are organizations who offer large grants for nonprofit organizations, and large grants, they can be anywhere for some organizations from about say 50,000 US dollars to as much as maybe 1.5 million US dollars or even more than that. But that is what we mean by large grants. They are in the hundreds, thousands, or even in the millions for your nonprofit organizations. Now, it is more difficult to get a large grant. And so I always recommend nonprofit organizations to start with the smaller grants and ensure that you are managing the funds well, you are implementing your projects well, you are keeping records of what you are doing, you are sharing what you are doing, sharing the impact, promoting, monitoring, and just building the reputation of your organization. Once you are doing that, then it is easier for you to then go ahead and apply for the larger grants for your organization. There are numerous organizations, especially now, that are providing what you call sustainable grants to really help organizations like NGOs to sustain their operations. Because as your organization grows, then your team will grow, the amount of work that you're doing will grow, the level of impact that you're doing will grow, and it means that you're going to need money in order to sustain this. So there are many funding agencies and international funding organizations, whether NGOs or INGOs, that are actually now providing sustainable or operational funding for NGOs, because they understand that it takes a team and it takes people and resources to carry out the work that nonprofits carry out. Like the small grants, these large grants will usually have an application form. Some of them will invite you to submit maybe a concept note first, and then if you pass that stage, they will invite you to submit that more detailed technical application. Okay, so again, you just have to look out, do your research, and look out for organizations that provide these large grants and ensure that you are applying. Again, like the smaller grants, some of them will have call for proposals with deadlines, and some of them will accept applications on an ongoing or rolling basis, meaning all throughout the year. Again, if you watch our video on where to find funding for your NGOs, you will see some of the organizations and agencies that provide large grants for nonprofit organizations. Number 4, you can partner with corporate companies or their foundations to either get sponsorship or donations for your nonprofit organizations. Now for this one, the sponsorship or donations that corporate companies may give to your nonprofit organization may actually be in cash or in kind. Now, I want you to pay attention to the kind, because sometimes kind could mean a location to host the activities of your nonprofit organization, which is very important, and it would actually save you a lot of money. So do not ignore or neglect the in-kind contributions. So how do you find these companies, or how do you choose a corporate company to partner with? You can look for companies that operate maybe under a similar mandate or have similar values to your nonprofit organization. Many of these corporate companies and their foundations, they will have their areas of focus where they will tell you what they support. So some of them, they will have different categories, like they support education, they support projects that focus on women or female empowerment, they will support projects or programs that focus on economic development or economic growth. Some of them will focus on health and wellness. So do your research and look for companies in your area, local companies, local corporate companies in your area or in your region that support the type of work that you do, and reach out to them. You can send them a letter. You could maybe develop maybe a pitch deck about your NGO, telling them about who you are, showing them the work that you've done, and then maybe asking for a meeting to present to them, and then ask them for what it is that you want. So you know what exactly your organization needs in terms of how much money do you need or what resources you need, and all you have to do is to ask these companies. Many of them are willing to support once they see that you are creating an impact. A lot of them include it as part of their corporate social responsibility to really help organizations that support community development. Another thing that these corporate companies and foundations like to do is that they get very excited about participating in events that nonprofit organizations host. So for example, if you're hosting a Christmas treat, you can ask them for sponsorship and then invite their staff and their team to be a part of the Christmas treat, to volunteer on the day. Many of them, they like this because they get to get involved. It is an opportunity for promotion for their companies, where the persons that you're serving will learn more about their companies. They will see them being active in the communities. And it's also a way for them to get, the word out about the work that they're doing in the community, maybe through the media. So some of them will do their own press release. They already have their connection in the media, and they will send photos, whether it's photos of the activities or them handing over the donation to you. They will send that to the media, and that is promotion for them, but it is also promotion for your nonprofit organization. Number 5, and I have a bonus one for you, so stay tuned. But number 5 is to start an endowment fund for your nonprofit organization. Now, the endowment fund, it takes money to start. So when you get, especially the corporate funding, if you have additional funding left from an event or activity, you can start an endowment fund where you have your organization account. And basically what this means is that you create a special account, maybe an investment account for your nonprofit organization, where there's a base amount that remains in the account, and it is there. It may get a higher interest rate, and depending on the amount and depending on the bank that you go to or the financial institution that you have it at, sometimes you find that the interest is more than the capital that you use to start the fund. And so you will always have the interest to use for your activities for your nonprofit, while your base or your capital that you had invested is still there. So that is actually a way that many, especially the larger NGOs, that is how they fund many of their programs, such as scholarships and other programs. So if this may be a medium to long-term way to fund your nonprofit, but it is something that you can definitely think about. You could also be very strategic about it, where you literally write to different companies to let them know that you want to start an endowment fund for your nonprofit organization so that you can sustain yourself, and ask them to contribute specifically to the endowment fund. So that is another way that you can consider funding your NGO. Now the bonus and number 6 is by having some fundraising activities. Now this is a very common way that many persons have been using for years to fund their nonprofit organizations and even other activities, by creating different fundraising activities. And there are numerous fundraising activities that you can do for your nonprofit. Many nonprofit organizations will host dinners. So it could be a themed dinner, it could be a Valentine's dinner, for example, or banquet. It could be a Father's Day dinner. In fact, my nonprofit, we usually have a Father's Day dinner years ago, because our anniversary for the organization was around the time that Father's Day is celebrated. So we always had an anniversary dinner. You could have fish fries. You could have maybe a nice charity ball where you invite individuals and corporate companies to buy tickets or to buy tables. And these are ways that you can actually generate, small or large sums of money to fund your nonprofit organizations. So you can be creative. You can have themed events, you can have games night, you can have raffles, you can have auctions. You can be as creative as possible when you're thinking about the fundraising activity that you want to do for your nonprofit organization, and you can put that out there. And that is another legitimate and very fruitful way of, or profitable way of funding your nonprofit organization. So there you have it, the 6 ways to fund your nonprofit organization, whether you're at the idea stage or you're just starting, or you want to grow and sustain your nonprofit organization. So I hope these ways were helpful for you, and I just want to wish you all the best with your nonprofit organization as you continue to create impact wherever you are. So again, if you're not a part of the community, then subscribe and become a part of the family, because I am here to help you to start, grow, and sustain your nonprofit organization. See you soon.